So session 2 of series 2 of Who on Earth Was Jesus? And today I'm looking at the people who didn't believe in Jesus. And one of the early groups we meet was his brothers. And they'd encouraged him to go up to the Feast of Tabernacles in Jerusalem, and they said to him, go and show the people what you've been doing. It sounds a little bit like that might have been tongue-in-cheek, because the next sentence says, for even his own brothers did not believe in him. The other 3 Gospels also tell stories of how Jesus' mother and brothers and sisters came to see one time when he was teaching, and they sent the message into Jesus, your mother and your brothers are outside, they want to see you. Now, why did they come? Well, it sounds a little bit like a family deputation. Why did they all come together? And maybe they were wanting to say to Jesus, come on, you're going a little bit overboard, let's go home. You can understand why his family would find it so hard to believe that he was the Messiah. I mean, they'd grown up with him, they'd played games with him, they'd sat at the table and eaten with him every night. He was their kid brother. They knew him so well that they couldn't believe he was the Messiah. Because familiarity makes it really hard for us to see what lies in a person. This came out again and again when he preached in his hometown in Nazareth. They were all saying, oh, isn't this amazing, and wonderful teaching. And then you sort of see them saying, but hang on, this is Mary and Joseph's son, and we know his brothers and sisters, and they end up rejecting him because of it. Familiarity does cloud our vision. The fact is that Jesus was completely human and normal. He looked just like any other Middle Eastern guy would have looked. What was also true, though, was he had the complete nature of God, but many people just could not see past the human form. Now, the other main group who opposed Jesus were the Pharisees, and this group were people who devoted themselves to keeping the law. They kept it with every detail, kept it to the point where it actually became a burden and an obsession. But this also led to a sense of pride in their goodness. And so when they looked at Jesus, they just saw a rebellious lawbreaker. When Jesus did go to the Feast of Tabernacles in Jerusalem and he began teaching in the temple, the people were divided over who he was. Jesus began teaching that he was from God, and the people were amazed at his teaching and also wondering, could this be the Messiah? When the Pharisees got wind of this and what the people were saying, they sent the temple guards down to arrest him. But the guards returned to the Pharisees without Jesus. And when the Pharisees said, well, why didn't you bring him in? They said, no one ever spoke the way this man does. Instead of listening to the guards, they turned on them and said, you're ignorant, you know nothing of the law. In other words, their mind was already made up and they weren't going to listen to what other people thought. Even when Nicodemus spoke up, now remember Nicodemus was the one who went to see Jesus at night and find out who he was, more about him. Jesus had talked about the Holy Spirit. Even Nicodemus spoke up and he said, look, is it right? I mean, according to our law, a person should be given the right to explain what they're on about before we condemn them. But the other Pharisees, turned on Nicodemus too, told him, this man can't possibly be a prophet because he comes from Galilee. Their minds were closed. Familiarity and closed minds, 2 very dangerous things when it comes to God.
I believe he is the Son of God. I believe he died and rose again. I believe he paid for us all. And I believe he is here now. I believe he is here, standing in our midst, here with the believe you died and rose again. I believe you paid for